And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is on your two sun planet. Welcome to the Merc with the Movie Blog channel. This is the Book of Boba Fett. We are talking about the first episode or chapter. I think we're going to call them chapters. They're episodes. We're getting 6 of them. This is the first one, and I'm not alone. I am joined by. Are we going Kiwi Jess? We going Jess? How's your pronoun game feeling tonight?
I think everyone just refers to me as Kiwi Jess, so I might just keep the branding going. Kiwi.
Yeah, we might as well. And if we're going to lean into that, we're going to lean into that on this of all shows.
Yeah, I'd really like to be represented as a Kiwi for this.
In a galaxy far, far away, you guys continue to be further and further away. Good stuff. So, I want to start, by the way, we're going to talk a little bit, because we've never really talked about Star Wars before. We've talked a bit, and not so much about Star Wars. So what's your Star Wars gateway? Where are you at with the Star Wars franchise in general? Tell the people.
Watched all the movies. Rogue One's actually my favorite Star Wars film. I actually really, really love it. So watched most of the TV shows, Knights of the Old Republic, so fairly well versed in it. Oh, and I had to watch the holiday special several times for a match, so that might end my Star Wars love. I might just tap out now.
You want to plug that now, or do you want to wait till the end? If anyone wants to go and check that out.
No, we can wait till the end.
Yeah. Courtesy, I like that. Which is not something we get a lot of in this rancid, raggedy world of bounty hunters. But I want to talk a little bit about Boba Fett as well, and my history with Boba Fett, because I feel like there was a period post prequels where people were generally down on Star Wars in general, and Boba Fett in particular seemed to take a big dive. And I don't know if that was just my perception, but it seemed to me that people went from being really excited about Boba Fett in the 90s and the early 2000s to all of a sudden, nah, he wasn't that cool. He was never that cool. We don't give a shit. We don't need a whole show. And it seems like after Mando, that's Mandalorian for all you noobs, the tune really changed, and I'm happy. I've always been on board with Boba Fett. I lost my shit when I heard that seismic charge in episode 4, season 2, Mandalorian, I believe. I lost my shit at that more than I lost my crap at Luke. So I'm a big Boba Fett stan. Coming. Yeah, kind of did. Did not see this coming. Did not see Boba Fett. And we go hard on Boba Fett. If any of you ever had questions pertaining to this character at any point in the last 20, 30, 40 years, depending on our demographic, you're going to get a lot of those surprisingly answered in this first episode. We start off with Attack of the Clones footage, which is everyone's favorite Star Wars movie. So we're all super stoked to see Attack of the Clones stuff.
Be reminded of that. That was great.
So then I'm thinking, okay, I see what we're doing here. He's in the Bacta tank. We're going to get these flashbacks that are going to kind of just progress throughout the episodes, and eventually, maybe like episode 3 or 4, we'll eventually catch up to the chronology of the Sarlacc pit. But oh no, straight in. We cut to, and we don't even see that. We don't need to see the drop again. We're probably not going to use footage from the actual movie.
Plenty of times.
We don't need to see it again. Return of the Jedi is still the best Star Wars movie. And we pick up where we left off in a classic trilogy movie, Deep in the Pit. Who doesn't love Daniel Logan? Poor kid, picked up that helmet and got more than he bargained for. That's a great shot. Like people say George Lucas can't direct.
So glad they used it.
Yeah, it's great. I wonder what that kid's doing now. I'd like to see him.
Just doing some stuff.
Doing on the screen. Nothing weird. He's old. It's fine. Anyway. But yeah, we really set off with a somber tone Music is great throughout this whole episode. Really, really tense, really gnarly. Doesn't like it's even less Star Warsy than the Mandalorian music.
I think that's
I didn't get a
good
chance
though.
to
We
check
need a
who did this.
departure from it.
Yes. And here we go. We've got a resident Star Wars expert in the chat, and he did the voice for Boba in Clone Wars. So he was young Boba. I mean, he's young Boba. I mean, they're kind of one and the same. It kind of goes without saying. Hey Ben, if you've got any useful Star Wars knowledge that you feel like we're not giving you enough of, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Speak to Danny; he'll tell you how it works.
I love this Sarlacc pit portion though, because it's a callback to one of the Legends comics.
Yes, very much so. And I was surprised how closely they lean into that stuff because
I mean, it's different how he gets out versus in the comic.
I haven't actually read the comic, but I get like the general beats of the stuff. But again,
he mind melds with the Sarlacc, and there's this mental war that they have that he eventually overcomes the Sarlacc, and then he gets out of the pit that way instead.
I don't see how that works on screen.
Not just a pretty face, they know stuff too.
We have multifaceted people on this channel over here at Merc the Movie Vlog, so we basically that means we take anyone. It's fine.
Wow. So, do you always bring a guest on here and insult them?
I find it better to do that before they insult me on my own turf. Josh doesn't protect me as much as I would like.
Yay! Hi, Daniel. What's a Boba Fett?
Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to
mushroom. It only grows in humid places.
So we've never once seen one of those mushrooms here in the UK. Is there like a grey Fett mushroom? We've probably got one of those. But I digress. If you want to follow my culinary channel, you can go and visit me at Don't. It's fun.
So the episode.
There is an episode, and as I was saying, I'm surprised at how closely they kind of stuck to. Like the general consensus has been like, kind of based off of what happened in that comic. He claws his way out, flamethrowers, armor, grappling hook, all that stuff. And I really thought that they would just like go completely the other way if they were eventually going to do this stuff, which didn't seem like they were going to for the longest time. But they just went full fan service with it, and it works fine. It's not bad fan service. But we literally, we even get the Patton Oswalt reference of the gloved hand coming out of the sand from the Parks and Rec monologue. Exactly, Ben. See, Ben knows what I'm on about.
Yeah.
Maybe hang in there, Ben. There might be a slot going next week. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how we go. So,
he gets found by the Sand People. There we go.
Yes, this is great. Oh, this is some of the best stuff. Like a little insight into like the culture and there's actual like a little like hierarchy within the tribes of the Sand People. Should we call them Sand People? I did hesitate.
What would you call them?
It's fine.
Would
we just call them Tusken Raiders? I don't know if Sand People
Raiders sounds aggressive. I don't know. You're getting football teams being cancelled for things like that.
Yeah, raid does imply like invasion and pillaging, and we don't want to hit those things too hard.
So let's move on from the politics of their names.
Good idea. So here's the best thing about Star Wars or newer Star Wars is not when they try to be Star Wars, it's when they base it on the stuff that inspired Star Wars. We got a lot of like the samurai influence in like Visions and Mandalorian and stuff. And this show, we go hard Western. Like we are doing shot for shot stuff from Good, the Bad and the Ugly, where Clint Eastwood's getting dragged through the desert. Only this time, it's fucking Boba Fett in a Western. And you all said you didn't want this. That's exactly what you're getting. But I digress again. They drag him back to the camp. And he doesn't kill the dog. I'm surprised.
No, but that's true to his character. It's the fact that he throughout the episode, he makes very conscious choices to be good and stand on his own merits, not by just killing people. So it just sets up his character, and they drop little bits of that all the way throughout.
Yeah, and I hope we're going to get more of that because, he is known for being, a ruthless bounty hunter, and that's not exactly where we find him in this show. But I do feel like we're missing a little bit of that tape.
And you think he wants to do this forever?
Yeah, that's fair. That's why he's got Ming-Na Wen helping him out.
She's a gem.
Oh man, give me some Ming-Na Wen anytime. Anytime. How we going, Ben? I love the flashback at the start of the episode from Attack of the Clones. It makes me feel like, yes, exactly. And the fact that we're able to use those shots in this like modern era of Star Wars and have it not feel completely jarring. We've seen some other big franchises do some similar stuff recently where they brought back elements from past movies and integrated them well into stuff. And there's nothing wrong with fan service. We are the fans. We like to be serviced. That's okay. It's how you integrate it into the story, and it needs to develop from the story as opposed to the other way around. So I'm looking for, that.
I'm just watching you monologue.
You feel free to chime in. You got a monologue of your own as a resident Kiwi expert. How do you feel this scene captured your culture there? Did it work for you?
Well, it wasn't capturing our culture. We're not in a desert land. I hate to break it to you. I don't think we've got a desert anywhere. No, I don't think we have a desert here. So just wrong on that count. I mean, it's a little bit racist that you just presume, but that's fine. Temuera Morrison's a gem. He's not in Guatemala now, Dr. Opata, which is a Shortland Street reference because the dude used to be on a very popular soap opera here. It's terrible. It's a medical daytime soap opera, and it's bad.
Is it actually terrible? Is it just considered to be terrible, or are you just passing judgment on behalf of everyone?
No, it is considered to be terrible. We have appeared on major American talk shows for clips from that show. I'm not going to mention what clip it was because I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on this channel. So,
wow, YouTube algorithm is going to blow up. Everyone's going to be searching this obscure New Zealand soap opera. The internet isn't prepared. Shortland Street, right? Right. Let's make sure we get that plug in there for all the Shortland Street fans out there.
He played a doctor on there that was just come back from Guatemala. He was yes. He is. Anything that he's in, I'm super keen on. He's also the voice of the chief, not the singing voice, but the voice of the chief in Moana.
I did not know that. I saw it once last year. Overrated.
You saw it far too little, but that's fine. Moving on.
Yeah. And also the Oscar-winning movie Barbed Wire from 1993. Anyone wants to go check that out and you haven't heard of it before?
We're just trying to plug his whole IMDb career at this point.
Why not? He's one of these actors that just hasn't blown up. Exactly. So, and if being in Star Wars isn't going to do it, then we are going to do it. But not before these Tusken Raiders give this guy the worst time. And they're not as savage as I thought they might be. So I don't want to be too harsh. Like I say, we really get insight into like how they interact with each other. We've got different uniforms and different ranks, and we got black cloth, which is terrible in the sun, but I digress. It's absolutely fine. I really wish I watched this episode twice.
Because you're trying to remember what happened?
Because I'm trying to I'm stalling while I get to the next chunk of this episode. I'll tell you what what scene I want to talk about. I want to talk about this tribute scene with Boba Fett. I don't think I'm skipping too far ahead. This is great. Everyone's bringing stuff. We get the Gregorian. You correct? Feel free to correct me, somebody.
Gramorian, but that's fine.
Gramorian.
Gamorrean.
Gamorrean. And they
God,
made a
yeah.
point, and again, this felt a little bit a little bit too fan servicey, where they had to go out of their way to specify these are the two same ones that were in Return of the Jedi fighting in the palace, and they've
Well,
been
that's
through
not
some.
exactly what they said. They said that they were loyal to Jabba, which, like, that's the thing, is it explains why they're still alive.
That's a good point. I mean, you know what? We don't need to have it explained why they're alive, because if we find out a little bit later on that these guys do have a use and they're pretty handy
We've seen, though, in
and
Star Wars
loyal.
that every time they bring in a prisoner, they're like, this is blah, blah, blah. We found him doing the da da da. It's a Star Wars trope, let's be honest.
Yeah. So if you're like a B, C, or D list character in a movie, chances are after the events of that movie, you're getting captured and used as a
Brought
plot
back.
device
It's
later
not
on,
a
which is perfect. Anyway, I'm loving like the gangstery, godfathery vibe that we got going
very
on.
Godfather vibes. I like how Ming-Na or actually Fennec, doesn't trust anyone. She's great. She's just so anti-people. I can relate to that. It's great.
Yeah, she's so much more brutal than he is, and he's got no
Yes, because
qualms.
he's softened. He's a really. I feel like this is Logan for Boba Fett. This is how I'm coming into it, with it being Logan. So old man Boba Fett, and it's going to be. I'm really interested to see where they take his character, but it has that same sort of feeling to it.
Yeah,
Because Logan was
absolutely.
Western. Logan felt like a Western, and so does this. So I feel like there's very similar framework to this.
Yeah, definitely. And we even get like this whole like healing thing. He's having to sleep in the. Is it a back to tank, or it's like a back to
Yeah,
tank
he did
light?
not look good. He did not look good when the was in the desert, I'll say that much.
Yeah, and when they drag him back later on, they just throw him in there like this dude needs to be in this thing right
Mm.
now. So I'm not sure like if there's more detail and story to be unearthed about like the extent of like his health conditions. I don't know, we're not all watching this show to know about his health.
Yeah,
Oh, of course,
Django would be
Django would be more brutal,
way
Ben, but spoiler alert, he doesn't have a fucking head.
Stop. Yeah, Boba is more
Yes,
in the gray
Boba's
scale.
much more on the grey scale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which makes me want to I want to know more about him in the movies, like more like internalize what he what his thought process was going in. Was it just a job? Was he just like a ruthless savage who had an axe to grind and found a way to get paid for it? At what point did this stuff that we're seeing in this episode start like seeping in? I don't know if we're going to go further back than like Return of the Jedi in any of these flashbacks. I don't think it's out of the possibility. It might get a bit too crazy if they start jumping backwards and forwards too much. I like the pacing that we've got going on, where we're kind of just going back and forth from these Tusken Raiders or Sand people. And dude can't catch a break. Like he ends up back with these guys and gals. I don't know how the Tusken Raiders work. He ends up back with them like 3 times in this episode, and
Yeah, but the
he's
third
still
time he goes back willingly, he goes back as an equal, not as a prisoner anymore. That's what the whole
yes,
symbolic gesture of him being able to drink the water is, because it's such a precious resource in the desert that the handing of that to him is
yeah,
just a complete symbol for he is now worthy. And that's why we see him in Mando, where he's got the Tusken Raider weapons on his back. It's because he's been
yes.
given them. So
That's
we'll
a really
probably
good
see a
point.
continuation of when he gets to this point. We might even see how he learns new skills from them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And I love how the him like earning the respect of the Raiders instead of, because like we see a couple of times like he probably could have gotten out of this and taken most of these
He could have killed the
people
youngling. He
down.
could have easily killed the youngling and started running,
Yeah,
but he chose not
like
to. And it's once again another showing that he's not just going to be a brutal
yeah.
murderer.
So this whole stuff with the Raiders just really parallels like his approach to how we're seeing him kind of take over the Jabba Empire, I guess. It's kind of just like one
Well, because
dusty
the mayor's
town.
representative would have been killed. If that was Jabba the Hutt, he would have killed him for not bringing a tribute and not turning up
Yes.
himself. And it
I
would have
would
been cut and dry done, because Jabba wouldn't have let that happen. So the very fact that representative was able to leave.
I don't want to talk about that guy. I fucking hate that guy. I know we're supposed to, but did it feel like he was slightly in a different good evening and whatever time it is?
It is evening
for you. I've been seeing taco memes all day. I've got to send you some of these things, man. Watch out. Anyway, there's one with balls in it. It's great.
Okay.
Just the word, not the. Anyway. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the chat there.
Well, they were about to get cancelled anyway.
But yeah, this representative for the mayor, I feel like he was like almost in a different show. Like he was like from like Spy Kids or Star Trek or something. And I get that they just wanted to make him feel pompous. Yeah, I know that's pretty astute. Maybe like not Spy Kids 1, but maybe like Spy Kids 3 or 4, like Back in Time or whatever it's called. And this episode is directed by Robert Rodriguez. This episode is so damn well directed. I saw some people complaining about the action in this episode, and I'll try not to look at too much chatter before
someone who doesn't like something, especially when it's Star Wars. It's the same as people who said it was super slow paced. I'm like, you can't have a TV show just be balls to the wall consistently. That gets boring.
It really does. It really does. Trying to think of a good example of a show, but we're all learning. We're all moving slowly this year. It's been absolutely wonderful. We don't even go to space in this episode. We do not see a single black sky or like a star, really. We don't see a ship, and I love that.
It's in the realm of Star Wars, but it's not a Star Wars thing. It's once again similar to Mando, where it was all super grounded, and I loved it.
Yeah, but even in Mando, like he travels around like planet to planet between episodes, but it still felt like a lot bigger. And not that this being smaller is bad, but like I could just see like the studio notes, like this is Star Wars, there's no space, like what's going on? That could have been an easy trap like 3 or 4 years ago that they would have fallen into. Final fight felt a little bit out of place. You mean like with the ninjas with the glowing shields and stuff?
I'm sure it's the same thing that on the blast shields when they had the Darth Maul fight. I'm almost certain because they look exactly the same and nothing gets through them. No lightsaber beams or anything like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would like to think that it was the same technology. I thought the ninja costumes were a little bit lame. I mean, we don't know who these people.
Choreography was kind of weird. I don't understand why, because it almost seems methodical that one of them would each sort of jab them at a different time, and I was like, wouldn't they all just be going for it, not doing this whole I'm just gonna go once at a time?
Yeah, that's like a movie TV action thing.
No, but for something that's meant to be so grounded, it does feel, we're getting so many better fight choreography in these shows that it feels stupid to sort of, especially in a first episode, kind of have this
I think the sloppy choreography I don't say it was intentional, but I definitely think it plays into it because when these guys show up with their crazy weird Darth Maul shields, and even though we've more than established how like badass our two main characters are, they're struggling, and it takes them a little while to figure out. Yeah, you get those blast shields on your back. You've got heroes in a half shell right there. But yeah, I thought the lack of choreography played into it because they're learning this stuff on the fly. They don't know who they are. We don't know who they are.
No, but they're clearly hired assassins. That's
they should know what they're doing. But I mean, like from the perspective, why
it feels out of place. It doesn't feel like it's real. It feels cartoony, and like it's just for something that's had really good grounded, a real grounded feel to it. It does feel out of place because it is this cartoony, like we're all gonna attack you at one time each. That's the thing, is they could have lessened the amount. And I agree with you. Everything else is great. It was just where I think felt a bit off.
that's why I say it's like the costumes. Like, did they have to look like ninjas? Like, maybe if they wasn't dressed like ninjas, we wouldn't expect them to be like
It's still the
organized,
fight
flipping around.
choreography. They've
Put
all
them in
turned
some
up.
bulky
They've been
armor.
hired. Let's be honest. They've been hired assassins. You can't talk your way around and be like, if they had different costumes, maybe it wouldn't be good. No, the problem herein lies the fact that they're hired help. That's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, why would you send them then? If you're trying to kill, let's be honest, if you're trying to kill Boba Fett of all people, are you going to send some half-assed assassins? No. So it
No,
makes
you
no
wouldn't.
sense that the assassins that have been sent are average.
And
Super
I'm not trying to
average.
defend the ninjas, okay? I think they're crappy as well. I'm not on the side of the turtle ninjas band name.
No, stop. Anyway.
You heard it here first. So where are we? Where are we? Turtle ninjas.
No, well we
We
skipped the Mos Eisley
well
lounge.
when they
What
walk
was it called? Sanctuary. The Sanctuary.
right where they're with
Where they give their
the big.
helmets over and they get filled up with the rebellion coins. You did watch the episode, right, Dean?
I watched the episode. It's been a long day, everybody. I got Boba Fett out my ears. I've got Spider-Man out my. Anyway, it's fine. We're running on 2 hours sleep, everybody, and it's later than you think it
And
is.
it shows. So what did you think of the scene? With it, I don't know if it's a Twi'lek or a Twi'lek, and she run basically from what it appears is either the hostess or she runs the establishment
Yeah,
because she's the one that speaks directly to Boba Fett about the arrangement that they're obviously going to have going forward. And I thought it was really cool considering that in the movies we saw that Jabba the Hutt had one of her people as a slave.
Yeah, it's great to see them. Like, I mean, we get an abundance of them. They really love the big floppy ear fellows in this place.
Are you talking about the Twi'leks, whatever they're called, as a
Yeah.
race, or just anything that has?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm not sure. Are the Twi'leks all like different colors, or are they just really just leaning into
Thanks,
this
Taco.
the
This is
floppy
knowledge
ear
I learned from
prosthetic?
you.
They got it's like every like 90% of the aliens in this episode just had the big tubey ears. I'm just like, can we have like
Did they? Because
some
I noticed
variety?
I noticed a whole bunch of other races.
I mean, yeah, they're populated in the background. Don't get me wrong, but just like in this scene, it just stood out to me because they just like it was like on a conveyor belt coming up and talking to them. We got
I
one
only
with like
think
big
of
blue
two that
pecs.
were like there, that were
There
like
was a
front and
yellow one.
center.
There was a white one. There was a blue one, a green one. Like,
Are you
which is
making up colors,
great.
or did you genuinely see 4 different colored ones?
I saw all of these people crawling out of the woodwork,
I'm gonna go
and
back and I'm gonna count them. I'm gonna screenshot them. I'm gonna post them on Twitter.
bring it on, bring it on. And maybe it plays into your point of like maybe that's to show like Jabba the Hutt's not running this place anymore. So different kinds of people are being allowed to like live different kinds of lives and be free and all this stuff. And it just is a nice visual representation of like how things could be different with a with a certain popular bounty hunter in charge of
Yeah, well,
of
he doesn't want to
everything.
even be carried in. It's the whole thing that he wants to walk on his own 2 feet.
Yeah. And I'm glad they addressed it in the episode because when they're all walking around, they're like, we got to go do this. This was Jabba's territory. We've got to like make our presence known. And I'm sitting, I'm like, there's no fucking way Jabba was walking around this desert door to door knocking. And then 2 seconds later, they're like, yeah, Jabba didn't really do it this way. Fennec says like, just leave me to do it. This isn't how Jabba did it. And then that ties back into when he says, no, I want to rule with respect. Not fear, which is again ties back into what we see with the Raiders, and just wants a mutual appreciation and understanding, and hopefully that will create a more wholesome crime lord relationship. He's still a crime lord. Let's not forget that. Let's absolutely not.
I don't
forget
think
that.
anyone has. It's why he's been given buckets, like a helmet full of coins. No one just hands you that without you asking, unless you're involved in some shady shit. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
And they're not all like respecting him. Like there's definitely a fear element still
Yeah, there
playing in.
always
Like you
is
can't
with
get
this kind of
around it.
stuff.
You can't get around
Always.
that. So I wonder if that's going to be an issue that's going to kind of be a reoccurring theme throughout this show. You know, and nobody wants like the pacifist Boba Fett show or anything. But I'm wondering how much they're going to lean into that going forward, because that could be really interesting if they pull it off. And with how heavily they've leaned into the Western stuff and like all that moral grey area, you know, the bad guys are just as shitty as the good guys. So I'm excited to see that moving forward. Then
we got a
we get
terrible
on.
fight choreography sequence.
Then we get a questionable fight choreography sequence. However, we get some chase sequence stuff in here as well with Fennec Shang. Some great parkour. Reminded me of like, you know, Robert Rodriguez stuff like Desperado, but also like some of the stuff in Aquaman they was doing when they're like running through the desert on top of like the buildings and stuff, and we're getting like these really wide helicopter shots. And somehow that worked without like ruining the westerniness of it. New word, you're welcome. And yeah, I thought it juggled, you know, a few potentially jarring tones and elements from Star Wars and like
You're talking
action
about
movie
that whole
tropes in
sequence
general.
as a whole.
Yes. And I mean, yeah, and the whole episode as well. But yeah, specifically this bit right now.
I just love that Fennec told her that she needed to bring back alive, and she goes, "Cool, I only need one," and just kicks the dude off the roof.
I thought the same thing because he doesn't specify.
As soon as I literally said aloud, she only needs one, and as soon as I said that, she took him off the roof. I was like, there we go. She only needs one. I love her character.
Yeah, she's great. She has a line early on in this episode where they're taking the tributes, and Boba's like, "I'm not giving them anything. Get them out of here. That's the end of it." And then she takes what he says and like completely paraphrases it, and she's like, "You're getting the tribute of being allowed to live. Now get out, like, you know, before we remove you." And I just love how she's just taking that, you know, subtle authority and that urgency, and it just fits like with the character of like where she's just so much sharper.
Yeah, but it also,
at this point
she does
in
it so
her...
well that it doesn't feel like she's doing it to try and establish authority over Boba Fett. It's almost in support because she cares about him, and you can feel it in the way she always interacts with him, is like, you should be doing this, and it's not because she thinks she's in charge, but she's almost cautioning him because she cares. And I really like that dynamic of having a really strong, powerful female co-star that isn't trying to be top dog, but she knows how to support him, but still retain all of those things that make her who she is. It's great. It's really fabulous writing for me as a person.
And she's also not afraid to be like, you know, maybe you might want to take like a leaf or two out of the Jabba book because, you know, you need to... Because
she doesn't trust people.
Yeah.
Whereas Boba's trying to rule in a different way, and that's not how she's obviously lived her life up until this point. Is not by trusting people and giving things chances. She's very much I do what needs to get done.
You think that's going to have conflict between these two characters in the show?
I hope not. I get really sick of the buddying up system, and then something comes between them and breaks them up. It's such a tired trope at this stage. We saw it in Hawkeye, where it very briefly. And I like that it didn't drag on, but it was once again, still had to have that conflict of, oh no, something's forced us to stop being a unit. And it's like, could we just keep a really solid unit of people without having some forced drama or melodramatics?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to see them like have like some childish breakup and like montage in the rain in like episode 4 or something.
You're not going to get much rain there.
Metaphorical rain. And
so just sand, just picks up piles of sand, just rains it down. That's fine.
That could be a thing. That could be a thing.
Anakin would hate that.
It's just going up in his robes, like all angles. Sandy from all angles.
Mhm.
Just like Shmi. Anyway, I was doing so well. Really had a role going on. Anyway, my point is that I don't want to see them like just have like some lame like break up, get back together moment. But if we could just have some of that like moral back and forth between them, you know, like in season 2 of Daredevil, we get like some really great conversations with Frank Castle and Daredevil on the roof, and they just, you know, instead of ending the episode with a big fight scene,
Yes.
yeah,
Bring in
he's
Sandman.
already there. Ben, did
Or
you not see
naturally
him in
No
this
Way Home.
episode? Yeah, he didn't get back home. Poor Finn Marco ended up in a galaxy far, far away. Could he become the whole planet? Just be like a big living planet. That'd be cool. But
It
anyway,
sounds like the
that
crossover event of the year.
it's going to happen in our lifetime.
You
We're
think
gonna get it.
there's a chance we're going to get Sandman, the Sand Planet?
Not specifically.
Then what does he do? He's just a planet. Like, cool. Well done, mate. What do you want now?
Yeah, it is one giant universe because universe means like all of the verse, you know. So that's good stuff. But they don't say in a universe far, far away. They say in a galaxy far, far away. So that is intriguing because if there's just one galaxy, then there could be other galaxies and in a universe. And it could be the Marvel universe, and Sandman is just there, ready, waiting for his moment to
Yeah, because we're
shine.
on Earth. They're in a galaxy far, far away.
You're
It's not happening.
If you're an expert on the old like Legends comics and stuff, isn't there like an Indiana Jones and Han Solo thing that
Never
they
said I was an
do?
expert. Like, let's not casually toss out Jess is a Legends expert. Jesus.
You
Yes,
you
that's true. I know, but like Ego had plans to take over the world. What's Sandman going to do from his little sand planet? He's literally just going to go in a little orbit. He's not going to take over anyone just orbiting whatever system he's in.
Oh man, a whole planet of sand just breaks up and gets sucked into some other planet's gravitational pull and just really ruins your picnic.
And then you
You
get your
know,
raining sand. That's how you get your rain. We've
Uh,
gone full circle now.
full circle like a sand planet in orbit. See, this is the kind of poetic content you come here for. You think it's fucking shit crazy, and it always comes back like Boba Fett. And I did it again, everyone. Where are we headed next?
Yeah, I know, Soda. Things took a weird turn.
It's a sand planet.
Okay,
There are going to be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So where are we at? Where do we go from here?
Well, they've dragged Boba Fett back and they've put him in the chamber, and then we flash back to him being at the camp once again and being taken out to dig.
Yeah, this is brutal. I've got a weird question about this. What's with the little pods of water that they're digging for? Why are they there? Who put those there? What is the? Am I missing something really obvious?
There might be something in the lore, but I don't personally know. They didn't show me anything to indicate how they got there. I didn't see anybody dropping them like breadcrumbs in Hansel and Gretel. So
Because
I don't know.
they just lead them to a random spot. They just start digging. Like there's no like metal detector or anything like that.
What
Just
you really
start
question
digging.
in Star Wars?
This is exactly what I question.
In Star Wars, this is the question you have. Okay,
it's
that's fine.
A desert planet.
To die on, I
it's
guess.
a desert planet, and there's just bottles of Evian buried in the fucking sand. Like, what? Where are they coming from? Is that animal droppings from the big creature, and he just drops out like bowls of water?
It's a universe far, far away. Their laws of physics might be different from ours. Just want to put that out there. Thank you. Underground coconuts.
That is great. So My
Does
follow-on
it make you
question,
feel better about it now that the
it
underground
does,
coconuts? Okay,
it
cool.
does. But just to quickly follow on from this, is this what they mean when they refer to moisture farming in like all the other Star Wars? Is that what they're doing? They're just digging for coconuts? Because that's a lot less
Potentially.
cool than what I thought moisture farming was. I
Okay, what
thought
did
there'd be
you
like,
imagine moisture farming was?
I figured it'd be like some crazy like big machine that you would have out in the
So like
desert that would
Dune.
like,
So like Dune, but with water.
and you would just, it would just extract like the tiny amounts of moisture from the air and the planet
Is it only
and
cool because
collect
there's
it.
machines? Because that
I
still
don't
sounds
know.
like industrialism to me.
Yeah, this is fine, but you know, this is the planet that Watto lived on. Okay,
Yeah.
so the gloves are off.
Oh, I kind of want the universes to stop colliding. I kind of like things being their own. I'm one of those people.
Before this show came out, I would have said that it completely made sense to have like Mando pop up in an episode, or Grogu, or you know, either or have some kind of connective tissue. But after seeing this episode, I really don't want that. I mean, I might change my mind if depending on how the story progresses. But right
Mm,
now, like you say, just keep it on the Dust Bowl. There's no need for either one of those two people to show up again, unless the story takes some really drastic, you know, sidestep that we don't see coming.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't need Grogu, and you know, or Mando, and we're going like extra long time without having Mando. So I should want it, but it's fine. It's fine. You know, maybe I think we've got a whole night slate of Disney Star Wars shows coming the
Yeah.
next couple of years. I think we're going to see it again a lot like what Marvel's doing. Instead of like just building up one big storyline, we're going to just have all these small threads that kind of just spread out over the galaxy or universe. And you know, if they need to connect and it makes sense for different stories, like you know, Ahsoka or this or Acolyte, whatever, to intersect, then they probably will, but they don't.
Yeah. I think they should
I
just
don't
keep
feel like they
focusing on
need
Boba.
to.
Because
And
it's the Book of Boba Fett, and I get really sick of it having to be, oh, we need to connect it to the main Star Wars franchise somehow. And it's like, we know who this character is, and I don't think, especially in a galaxy that big, how often are you going to just run into someone?
yeah, that's a fair
It
point.
just like, I get it, but like, I'm perfectly happy with just having a Boba Fett show where it's just him doing his thing.
Yeah, and it would be weird because if somebody else shows up in this, then we've then kind of got to backtrack and explain what they were doing at that time and why they had the
Do we though?
fortitude to show up.
Because they
We
didn't really
don't.
show
Well,
how Luke got to where he was in Mando. He showed up, took Grogu.
yeah, I mean, what is it? Is it the final episode of Mando that Boba Fett buggers off, or is it like the episode or two before? Right?
I can't remember.
So,
It's been a while since I watched it. But yeah, at the end of the
yeah,
day, Luke just shows up. And like I get that, but this is showing you, sort of little bits towards what was happening before he goes, like, because obviously they take his armor, and that's potentially how his armor ends up with Mando.
Cobb.
So
Yeah,
it's what, and so it shows you all those little pieces that take him to that point, and this is almost a continuation, and it ties into Mando in that way, and I prefer it to stay that way. Is, oh, okay, so that's how Mando got that armor. Cool.
yeah. It's just like background context as opposed to like somebody having to
Yeah, I don't need to
show
see them
up.
flash to a Mando flashback for me to be like, oh, okay,
Yeah, that would be weird. That
it's
would
too
be
on the
really
nose,
lame.
and that's
Too
what
on
a
the
cameo would
nose.
be, is just on the nose.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of the Luke Skywalker stuff. I mean, it made sense in the story for him to show up. I
Mm.
didn't love how they handled it, but maybe it was more of like a CGI thing. But I digress. You know who needs some CGI is this poor fuck who keeps getting thrown in the back to tank every 5 seconds throughout this episode. And again,
He's
what is
looking
the
so good
extent?
for his age, though. Temuera Morrison looks
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
yeah. There's And you really notice the difference between he's getting like dragged around in the desert and he's all like pale and dehydrated and crusty to when he's like getting out that tank and he's all shiny and everything. Don't tell me you didn't notice the shininess.
Can't say that crossed my mind, but I'm glad. I'm glad that you got something out of that scene, Dean.
Welcome to the Book of Shiny Fett, everybody.
Oh, anyway. So they're digging. Do you know what the creature was that emerges from the sand?
Other than like Goro from Mortal Kombat's Big Brother, I don't know. I've never heard of one of these.
I haven't seen the species before. Maybe someone else knows, but I don't.
Are they connected to the little pods of water because they're right in the same place? Like,
potentially they might build on that in the next episode, but I obviously don't completely state that that's what it is.
Yeah, they don't have to, and it's fine. I'm not hung up on it. But is anyone complaining about this action scene, or are people happy with what we get here? Because this is some cool stuff.
Are you asking me, or are you asking everyone else?
You and everyone else. You don't have to speak on behalf of everyone else, but give me your take on it.
Oh, that's actually really
now
good.
We're getting the real questions, and they just sucked up like half a dozen of the dude's babies. No wonder that he was pissed. But it felt weird to me that they just happened to be like in the same place. Like the Tusken Raiders, like, yeah, come dig here, right here, even though there's like no visible sign that there's anything here, and it just so happens to be where the water is and where Goro is.
I had a problem with the previous one, and you clearly have. Well, you're just complaining about the setup for it.
I'm not complaining about the setup. I'm just curious as to if and how that is all relevant to each other. And maybe if we knew what these creatures were, maybe there's like some pre-established data on how they go about their business. Yeah, me too. What are you having? Like omelette, scrambled? Let us know in the chat. You know, I will get a culinary show going on at some point. Just for you, Danny. I'll cook in the nude. I'm joking. I won't cook.
We lost all of our viewership just there. I hope you're happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we're going to work. See, you bring them in, I knock them back.
Yeah. Okay.
And Danny doesn't care. He'll always be here for us.
There you go. You got a viewer.
And
that's fine.
Omelets.
That's fine. I love Boba Fett in this scene because even though he shouldn't be able to do what he does, he still manages to take down that creature.
You think it goes down too easily?
I don't know. I don't know what the creature is. I don't know what its limitations are. Potentially, it's just got a really soft neck.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
once again, I'm sure you clearly have a problem with this scene, and you're not stating it because you don't want to be that person. That's where you're like, "How do people feel about this scene?" When I'm like, "I like the scene.
Well, I think it's great.
Some problems with it.
I think it's great that we got different kinds of action throughout this episode.
But every comment I have, you're like, but should they have done it? How did that work? Why would they do that?
Because it's fun to question the logic stuff. My point was going to be about the squishy neck thing. This is a trope.
Yeah, I get it.
This is a trope in like everything sci-fi and fantasy. You can have the most non-humanoid, weird, blobulous, mangly, genetic mistake of a creature, and somehow the vital organs are always basically in the same places. That's just a thing that happens. You know, necks, heads,
we don't
hearts.
know that the vital organs are in its neck.
Well, no, but it's a neck. It's a vital piece of the puzzle. Is the point? You know. I know what necks are. It's fine. You know, and this is coming from a whole bunch of people who like to wear a helmet and body armor, nothing on the neck.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe
that's
the thing.
He takes it down.
He knows. He knows it's the weak spot on everything.
He helped to
You
save
know,
the youngling. It was great. And then the youngling takes all the credit, and it's hilarious. He takes it back to camp, and they're all congratulating him. And the one dude, which I'm guessing he's the chief, like clearly knows it's bullshit and hands him the water. But I love that the kid's like, yeah, I'm totally going to take credit for this.
yeah, like why not? I mean, again, not only does that kind of like show like, you know, more just like the dynamics between how these people live, but just really shows some personality. And we got a whole bunch of that in Mandalorian as well, with not only the Tusken Raiders, but like the what are the little hoodie fellows called? The
Ewoks?
they're not Ewoks, they're the other one, the Jawas,
Oh, there you go.
and how we get got it. It's in there. So yeah, that's my favorite stuff. It's just the cultural, you know, interpersonal stuff, and with no dialogue. You know, we
Yeah.
don't know we don't know. Well, I mean, there's kind of dialogue. It's not really in a language that we're aware of, but you know, they're communicating with each other.
Yeah, because
They
it's
keep
well acted. You can tell the intent. And sometimes that's the whole thing is body
yeah,
language is more than what you say sometimes.
yeah, and again, like it's not only just like body language acting, but through like that level of like costume and prosthetics and stuff. It's really quite impressive. There's a serious art going on there, and I think like it must be like a lot of the same team that worked on Mando. And I remember seeing on the behind the scenes stuff that they did, where they did have like all these like body language experts and like, you know, people who did like Makaton and different like, you know, visual languages and stuff like this to kind of come out and really flesh out all of these races, which, you know, could have just been so easy to just throw in, you know, it's a Tusken Raider.
It's
I
not on
don't speak
Duolingo
it.
yet. Okay, get it up on Duolingo. Your girl will try to learn it.
Yeah, you know, I'm only half Tuscan on my mum's side, and we weren't allowed to speak it in the house growing up because my dad was a hardcore Empire nut, and it was just a no go. How did it work? It didn't, but you got me. Moving on. Where are we moving on to? I keep getting distracted. You
We're at the
people
end. He's been handed
are
the
the
water and
worst.
it's done.
Gives him the water, and we just cut to black. Sometimes I
Well, it's
don't
good.
mind
It's
this.
a good place to end. Is that handing over and you realize that he's now an equal for them. He's unchained. His chains have been broken. He hasn't been chained up again, and he isn't being led into camp like he would have
Yeah,
been or guarded going into camp. He's treated as one of their
yeah.
own.
Yeah, he could have just slaughtered this whole little town or village and just carried on
That's
about
not who
his
he is.
business. Same as he could have just walked into all those bars and businesses later on in the episode and just rocket launched the hell out of the place and done things that way. And we're all glad that he didn't. I'd like to think.
Well, it's not who he is. Otherwise, we're just watching a whole mercenary show. It goes back to
Yeah,
that thing at the beginning where I was saying,
exactly that. We cut to black, everybody. We don't know where we're going from this point. It's hard to kind of predict what the kind of plot threads are going to be. We kind of get that we're going to have this like dilemma of like, how do we take over and run this stuff? You know, how do we balance that with the moral questions? How far is too far, everyone? A galaxy far, far away is pretty far, but we'll find out next week. We're kind of getting mellow, real Bob Ross right now. Any final thoughts on the episode before we wrap this thing up?
no, I enjoyed it. I don't think that every first episode has to be a powerhouse. I don't understand this whole. I think a lot of fans are far harder on Marvel and Star Wars TV series than any other sort of franchise. I think that they think that the first episode has to be perfect, otherwise it's not worth watching and it's kind of stupid. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a really great show, considering how well they did with Mando and looking at how seriously they want to take the properties that they've developed. It's going to be a really good show, I reckon. They're not going to please
Yeah,
everyone, but
I know. I think I wouldn't say it was a powerhouse episode. I think it was a pretty good episode. There was a few moments in here with the action with Boba Fett and Fennec and a lot of that stuff, choreography or not, you know, it was just great to see the characters go through that journey physically and otherwise. So I don't think it was a powerhouse episode, but I enjoyed this episode probably
It doesn't have to be. It's
just
the
as
first
much.
episode.
Yeah, but if every episode is as good as this episode for me, then that will equal Mando or any of these other shows that we've been getting from Marvel, DC, Disney, otherwise, whatever. Can't watch the DC show, guys, because we're not allowed HBO Max. Get on it. On that note, wrong show, but it was in my system and now it's not. Stay healthy, everyone. You can't be a ruthless bounty hunter your whole life. You got to relax sometimes. Anyways, why don't you tell the people where and when they can find you? What do you get up to? What's going on in Kiwi land?
So yeah, you can find me at Kiwi_Jess_ on Twitter. So we recently, the other day on the 27th, had a Star Wars match where we did the Star Wars holiday special. We had a bunch of Star Wars competitors. We had Thomas Harper, Alex Damon, Gold Leader, Marie Wilson, Zach Burkett, Adam Witt. It was a really, really fun time, and I highly suggest if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Then this Saturday, so the 1st, we're having Let's Talk About Star Wars, where we're playing the Alien game. So that should be a good fun. And then I'm also on a show that we're just launching called Northern Unwind, where we chill out and talk about movies and play games and just hang out. And that's on the 2nd. So that's where you'll find me. But it's over on the Northern Entertainment Group channel because we've rebranded from Schmoes of the North. That was a mouthful.
That's what they have rebranded. They've got all kinds of great stuff going on. Past, present, future. It's going to be a fun time. Meanwhile, you will find me on Tatooine trying to find the nighttime and the shadows that ensue. They've got to be out there somewhere. I'm fine, everybody. I just don't have anything else to promote, and I'm trying to make it fun. Was that fun? I hope you've had fun, Jess. I hope everyone in the chat has had fun. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in. I didn't see any of you guys in the chat for any of our other shows. I wonder what the difference is, everybody. But let's not rocket pack any egos, shall we? I'm Dean Lewis. Catch me on Twitter at DeanLewis2099. Don't forget to click like and subscribe on the Merc with a Movie blog channel, and we will see you next week for chapter 2 of the Book of Boba Fett. Peace out.